Imagine you're reaching into your cupboard and you go to take out your favorite cup or mug. You thought you had it, but it slips from your fingers and shatters onto the floor. You're probably annoyed. If the cup was important to you, you might even be sad or angry. Maybe it was expensive, so you tell yourself how clumsy you are and grumble about the loss as you clean it up. And maybe the bad mood follows you for the rest of the day. In Chapter 3 of the Enchiridion, or the Handbook, Epictetus said, "With regard to whatever objects give you delight, are useful, or are deeply loved, remember to tell yourself of what general nature they are, beginning from the most insignificant things. If, for example, you are fond of a specific ceramic cup, remind yourself that it is only ceramic cups in general of which you are fond. Then, if it breaks, you'll not be disturbed." Epictetus is first advising us to make the situation less personal, to remember that cups can be replaced. Of course, this video isn't really about how to properly grieve a broken cup, but this is only a small, ancient, but surprisingly still relatable metaphor about the temporary nature of all things and the even more transient nature of our possession over them. In an interesting coincidence, this isn't the first time a cup was used for this exact metaphor. The Buddhist teacher Ajahn Chah once said of a cup he owned, "To me, this cup is already broken. Because I know its fate, I can enjoy it fully here and now. And when it's gone, it's gone. For now, I drink out of it. It holds my water admirably, sometimes even reflecting the sun in beautiful patterns. If I should tap it, it has a lovely ring to it. But when I put this glass on the shelf and the wind knocks it over or my elbow brushes it off the table and it falls to the ground and shatters, I say, of course." When I understand that the glass is already broken, every moment with it is precious. Buddhism, like Stoicism, has a lot of teachings about meditating on the impermanence of material things. When your cup breaks, these teachings encourage you to catch yourself before falling too deeply into grief or anger, and to remind yourself that it was always a cup. Cups aren't meant to last until the end of the universe, and it was very unlikely that you would own it for the rest of your life. Something was always going to happen to the cup. By its nature, it's fragile, and by our nature, we can't live forever to always own it and protect it. The Stoics said to always keep this in mind when we look at our possessions. As much as possible, reflect on the fragility of your possessions or how quickly they can leave you. This way, when a cup breaks, instead of getting angry or sad, you can accept, with a well-practiced mind, that the cup did what it was always going to do: break. If it wasn't now, it was going to happen someday, but that nothing unnatural has happened. Many mistakenly believe that it's morbid or depressing to think like this. They hear this and they want to challenge it. Why focus on how temporary everything is? Why should we care about anything at all if we know our time with it isn't going to last forever? Are you saying we shouldn't have or like anything in our lives? Are you saying that we shouldn't feel good about any of our possessions? Of course, like many misunderstandings, the opposite is true. As Ajahn Chah showed us, reflecting on the impermanence of material things doesn't mean focusing on sad endings or detaching ourselves from them. In fact, by meditating on the temporary nature of all things, we can reach a new level of mindful gratitude for what we have now. Aren't we lucky to be where we are right now, surrounded by so many lovely, fragile things that might have never made it to us in the first place? Aren't we lucky to have any time with them at all? So why not enjoy it with that in mind? Many might say that it's better not to think about the future shattered version of our favorite cup. But if we don't, when it does break, it'll be a nasty surprise to us. We won't be prepared emotionally or rationally for when it breaks. What makes this worse is that because we were living in this illusion that our cup was immortal, we took it for granted. we ignored it. We focused on what we were drinking out of it, or what a pain it would be to clean it. Then, when it breaks, we're plagued with negative emotions of having lost it. Reflecting on its fragility when we use the cup, we're mindful of its beauty and usefulness. We appreciate it. We understand that our time with it is limited and therefore precious. We become aware of and mindful of its true nature. And when it breaks, we can calmly say, "Of course, but at least we had some good times." I hope it became clear to you a while ago that this isn't really about cups. This isn't even limited to physical possessions either. Because, like our possessions, our health and the health of our loved ones are also fragile. And our time with them is also limited. Everyone is mortal. After using his cup metaphor, Epictetus advised that when we kiss our loved ones goodbye in the morning, remind yourself that what you love is mortal. This is a poignant call to action, not to detach ourselves from everyone, but to love deeply, fully, and mindfully while we're able to. From our cups to our loved ones, Seneca also said, "Fortune has taken away, but fortune has given. Let us greedily enjoy our friends, because we do not know how long this privilege will be ours." Our time with the things and the people we love is precious. Reminding ourselves of their impermanence helps us from taking them for granted, ignoring them, or being overly annoyed by them. Practicing awareness of impermanence allows us to enjoy our time with them more deeply than if we were to pretend that everything is permanent. And similarly, Epictetus encouraged us to practice this so that when the time comes that either we or they must depart from our time together, we can say, "Of course, but at least we had some good times." Thank you for watching. If you'd like to know more about Stoicism and compassion, please go ahead and subscribe. Thank you.